Welcome to our Monday study. Today is November 3rd, 2025. Thank you so much for joining me. We are going to highlight the things that are going on in the news to give just attention to those things. Particularly, we have the devastation that occurred in Jamaica, Haiti, Cuba, Dominican Republic, and a few other islands across the Caribbean. So we're going to highlight that. We also are going to talk about the earthquake that occurred in Afghanistan, which I believe 20 or more people have been killed based on that earthquake. And then, of course, you probably are seeing more global attention to something that we have discussed on this channel before, and that is the Christians that are being massacred, basically persecuted in the Sudan and Nigeria, and they are being persecuted for their faith. So that is also in the news. And last but not least, in America, the biggest story really is the government shutdown. But to that point, it is the SNAP benefits, and those benefits ending on November 1st because of the funding lapse, okay? The government funding lapse. So if you don't know, SNAP means Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and it basically means food stamps. So food stamps, government issued food stamps, were that program ended for lack of funding. That has been a really big deal, one of the trending stories that has been talked about. And so with all of that going on, and there's been a lot of other things. I believe there was a murder, or a few people injured. I don't believe that there were any casualties, but injuries, at least 8 or more injuries in the UK due to a stabbing. So lots and lots of things that are going on across the globe. I wanted to highlight those stories in particular because you should be in the habit by now of knowing what is going on in the world, in this country, but also in the world. So understanding social and global issues, that is very important. It's helpful for you to know what is happening, how you need to adjust, if you need to adjust yourself and your family to those things. So this is a Monday study. It's not a 5 Alive, but it's kind of sounding like a 5 Alive, right? It's almost like there's a little bit of whiplash because of all the things that are happening. But in all of that, I want to encourage you to find out where you fit and help. So find out where you fit and help others who are in need. So again, with everything that's going on in Jamaica and the cleanup in Jamaica and Haiti, those are really big. A lot of their buildings were basically flatlined across that country. So obviously they need help. Likewise, the individuals that live in Afghanistan, if you know someone in Afghanistan that has been devastated by the earthquake, please reach out to assist them. And the Christians who are in Sudan and Nigeria, not only do they need prayers, but any assistance that you are able to offer. So I really wanted to talk more about just those people who are poor, those people who are in need for whatever reason, and what's God's view about the poor. So straight from Jesus's mouth, and I can go through a lot of scriptures, but I really want to highlight two. Straight from Jesus's mouth, he says, "For the poor you have with you always, but me you do not have always." So this is him speaking to the disciples, and it was related to the poor, and that is in John chapter 12 verse 8. And so he's making a great point as it relates to the economic aspect. There will always be individuals that are less fortunate or may not have, and if there is, then you know that means that if you do have, it's a great opportunity for you to give or to provide or to help. And especially as we are going towards excuse me, a time where things are very rough for families across this country in particular, not just those that are affected by this ending of the SNAP benefits, but families all over. There's been multiple businesses, companies that have cut jobs. So they are cutting jobs in the thousands. And that was, I believe, Amazon, UPS, and another company, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the other company, but three larger companies over the past week has also cut. They're making layoffs, and so there are a lot of economic changes, and there will be more people in need. And so, as Jesus says, the poor will be with you always. So there will always be individuals that are in need. That's basically what he's saying. And so, because we know that there is a mandate to assist those that are widowed, those that are orphans, those that are poor, okay, those that do not have the economic means. It's a mandate from scriptures to assist where we can. And so I really wanted to highlight, when there is economic instability, how important it is to help. And so in Matthew chapter 25, verses 34 through 40, actually I want to kind of pick it up from the scriptures and read it from the Bible, and that way we can read it together. So I hope that you grab your Bibles and we will read it together. 25 verses 34 through 40. All right, and this is going to be from the King James Version of the Bible. And it reads, "Then the king will say to those on his right hand, 'Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you for the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me.' When the righteous ask, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty?' And Jesus respond, again, this is straight from Jesus' mouth. He says, 'What you did for the least, you did for me.'" All right, so Jesus is basically saying in these verses in Matthew that when you assist those who are in need, when you assist the poor, that you are in fact assisting him. So Jesus became poor so that you and I, might be rich. And so he showed us how to help the poor by ministering the gospel to them, by, healing the sick, by, living a humble life. That doesn't mean that he was wretched and poor, but he lived a humble life. And so I think that shows that he did not come where he could have came and, wanted the finest of linen and the finest of this or that. His profession was a carpenter, okay? And so I think that shows his humility. I think that it shows how much he was an everyday person, even though he was God, the Messiah. And so it's important for us, based on what he's telling us in Matthew chapter 25, verses 34 through 40, if we want to honor Jesus, then we should honor those who are in need and who are poor. All right. And so I know that this may not be something that, we do often. We might just say, okay, well, because it's the holiday and this is November, and you might be thinking, oh, it's the holiday months. So this is why I'm going to do. But I want you to get a mindset of giving. Give to live. Okay. And so that means that whether it is November, Christmas, the holiday months, Thanksgiving, whatever, don't let those months be the only time that you give. Allow yourself to give to live, and that means giving often, just giving. And I wanted to highlight, to that point, I wanted to highlight Proverbs chapter 19, verse 17. And I'm going to read it in two versions of the Bible. The New King James Version, which says, He who has pity on the poor lends to the Lord, and God, will pay back what he has given. So God will pay you back what you have given to the poor. And then I want to read it in the Message because I really like how it sounds. Again, the Message is more of a paraphrase to me, not necessarily a translation, but sometimes I will read it just to kind of give you a little bit more like a little bit more feeling, but then also it is written in everyday vernacular, things that we understand and how we speak today. So you don't have to say all of these and the thous from the Message. It is just regular conversation. So Proverbs 19 verse 17 in the Message reads, mercy to the needy is a loan to God, and God pays back those loans in full. So that means that when you are lending to the poor, when you have mercy on the poor, when you give to the poor, when you give to those individuals who are in need, that you are not only are you giving to the Lord, as Matthew 25 says, but God will pay back. He will pay you back for what you have given, for what you've extended to the poor. God will give to you. And so I just love that, and it just kind of shows the mercifulness and the justice that is in us helping by giving to those that are in need. And so it is one of those mandates that we don't necessarily think about. Like I said, we think about it usually during this time of the year, but it is very important to keep that in mind, that caring for the poor is something that shows it's a big deal to God. It is showing that you are honoring God when you do that. So I am going to leave it right there and just say that in this time where you have all of these things that are kind of happening, where you might know people that are, their benefits have run out as it relates to food, or it could be someone afar that is a family member that lives in Haiti or Jamaica, or one of the other places that I've named. The reality is that people are in need, and it's not hard to find someone that might need assistance. So I am going to encourage you to please reach out to those individuals in this time to help someone that is in need. It is a really good way to honor God. And, as God has outlined, that when you loan to the poor, as in you give to the poor, you're not asking the poor to give you back your $20. But when you give to them, God pays back those loans in full. So he will honor you. Excuse me. He will honor you by giving to you, by assisting you with those things that you need, by being merciful to you. So when you extend mercy to others, then God will extend mercy to you in your time of need. So I'm going to leave it right there and say, please keep those individuals in your prayers. And then also who are going through those things, like the people in Afghanistan, and obviously the Christians who are in Sudan and Nigeria and those parts of Africa. Right now, what we know is that in Nigeria alone, at least 7,000 people this year have been killed. Christians have been killed for their faith. So they were standing up, doing their regular life. Some of them were, and I've talked about this before, they've been in church services, or just kind of doing regular life. And because individuals, Muslims, know that they're Christians, they are targeting them and they're killing them. And so please lift those individuals up in your prayers, and also those individuals that are those affected that are in Afghanistan. And if you have people that who really for a fact that their SNAP benefits ran out and they don't have food, take some food to the food bank or give to those people who you know are in need. This is the time to give. This is the time to be on one accord and give to others. That's also a great time for you to introduce to these people the love of Christ. Right now, people need to see the love and they also need to feel it. And the best way to do it is to be Jesus with skin on, meaning that you are a person that is representing Jesus. You are praying for them. You are giving the things that you can give. Obviously, if you're not in a position to give, and if you are affected, then you may not be in a position to give. But even so, give a prayer. Pray for these individuals. It is important right now for us all to stand together on one accord. So I am going to leave you right there and say thank you so much for joining me. Like, share, and subscribe. And remember that it is God over everything.